CANARY.
Thank you for joining me. I'm glad you are still watching Channel 44. My name is MUGUME CANARY, and this is version 86, a TV show where we get to televise the lives of young people born after 1986. Why 1986? We look at 1986 as a turning point, a year that brought a new breed of life. As you watched on last week's episode, we hosted the president of this nation, His Excellency YOWERI MUSEVENI, and we gathered young people to talk to him direct, ask him questions, and tell their success stories. So in today's episode, we have the president himself replying to their comments, replying to their stories, and replying to their questions. He talks about the 5 income-generating sectors. He talks about the levels of unemployment since 1986. He talks about very many things you don't want to miss. Let's go for a short break. When we return, it's the president himself talking to the young people. Don't go away.
Okay. Pastor Robert Kayanja and Madam, our visitor Rosa Whittaker from the United States, and the young people of 1986. Well, I'm glad that you have formed yourselves into a group that can talk about yourselves. In 1986, we faced a very difficult situation. This was because the economy, the formal economy, as opposed to the informal. There are 2 economies here, the formal and the informal. The informal is like smuggling. When something is smuggled from Congo or from Kenya, it is part of the economy, but it is not part of the formal economy. It is part of the informal. What had happened was that the formal economy had collapsed because of mismanagement. Now, when the formal economy collapses, the first thing that suffers is tax collection. You cannot collect taxes when goods are being smuggled into the country because they don't pass through the border, so you can't tax them. Now, if you can't tax goods, the government will not have money to build schools, to deal with health, to build roads. So what Pastor Kayanja should help you with my staff, they should give you people the tax collection year by year from 1986 up to now. How much money is the government collecting in taxes? In 1986, we were able to collect only 5 billion shillings because there was nothing to tax. You see, you tax 3 things, or 4. You can tax incomes. If people are earning salaries, you tax them. If they are earning reasonable salaries. The other thing to tax is a good, a product from the factory. You can tax it. You can also tax a service. like a hotel. If there's a hotel, you can tax it. Or you tax imports, which are coming from outside. But you hear that in 1986, the factories were closed, so you could not tax goods from factories. The people had no income, so you could not tax income because the income was not there. If people are not working, they don't have incomes. They could not tax imports because they were not coming through the border. They were being smuggled through the bush. That's how this idea of border came up. This border were the bicycles which people were using it to smuggle on the border. That's why you hear border. Border were the bicycles, not the pikis, but bicycles, which people were using it to smuggle goods. So that was the situation, 1986. No factory production, no hotels, no commercial agriculture production, no imports, no formal imports. The imports that were there were informal. So therefore, no tax collection. I think the problem you are having is a weak NRM secretariat that has not been talking to you. That has also been part of the problem. Because the secretariat should be the one to be talking to you about all this. So, that was the situation. Therefore, our first task was to reformalize the economy. Imports must come through the border so that they are taxed. In other words, stop smuggling. Magendo, it was called magendo. Smuggling was called magendo. Secondly, bring back factories to produce so that they produce goods which are taxable but also create jobs. Thirdly, attract companies to invest in services like hotels and so on. Now, by 19, we succeeded. That program was called the Minimum Recovery Program. I will get the Minister of Finance to write a paper for you. The Minimum Recovery Program. What did it entail? Now, by 1996, you will see from the tax collections, by 1996, tax collections had come up a bit, and the economy had recovered somehow. Some of the factories, like the beer factories, the soda factories, had opened. And therefore, we could tax them and also tax imports. And therefore, by 1996, we had some revenue, income for the government. And with that money, we were able to fund defense, but also start UPE, the one you are talking about, UPE. UPE meant universal primary education. That's what it meant. So go watandika di Wenama, Jangwano. What on the Kadi? 97. That was P1. So this one started from the beginning of UPE. Now UPE has achieved 3 things. Reading, you can now read. Writing, numeracy. 3 things. You can read, you can write, you can count. Those were the basics. Reading, writing, and numeracy. To count. Okubala. Chura. In law. But there are 2 other steps. Skills in fact 3. Skills, professionalization, and intellectualization. So we need 6 words. Writing, reading, numeracy, counting, skills, skilling, people to be skilled, professionalization, and intellectualization. The 6 words, which means 6 targets. The easiest to achieve were the first 3. Reading, writing, and counting, numeracy. Those have been achieved. That's why you hear that the literacy rate in Uganda has gone from 50% to now 76%. So, what the girl from Nama was saying, the insufficient laboratories, that's true, because we didn't have money to do everything. Some schools have laboratories, others don't, because we didn't have money to do all at the same time. But we are continuing to add to the capital of education. You can get the data. How many classrooms were available in 1986? Classrooms in permanent materials. And how many are available now? I think in my writings I have given some of that data. How many classrooms? Because you have to build classrooms, then add laboratories, library, laboratory for chemistry, physics, biology, and ICT. We need now 4 laboratories. And library. Then teachers' houses. Because this is good if the teachers are staying near the school so that they can teach instead of going from a distance. What we started with were the classrooms. The laboratories were adding slowly because of the money. So I know that. But, so that's the progress. 1986, in the primary schools, we had like 2 million pupils. We now have 8 point something million. In the secondary schools, we had 123,000. We now have 1.3 million. In the universities, we had 5,000. We now have 140,000. And so what you are saying now, the quantity is there, deep in the quality. That's what you are saying now. But we could not deepen the quality without having the quantity first. When I studied in my time, we had high quality. At entire school, we had a laboratory for biology, a laboratory for chemistry, a laboratory for physics, for the O-level classes, and also for the A-level classes. So we had quality, but we had no quantity. We were very few. At Ntare School, 1961 to 1966, that was before your parents were born. When I was studying there, we had S1A, S1B, two streams. 40 in A, 40 in B. So 40 times 2 is 80. Times 4 is how many? 320? 80 times 4 times S2, S3, S4. That is 380. No, 320. Then in A level, when they added A level were like 20 in arts, 20 in science. S5. So those were 40. S6, 40. So in A level we were like 80. So 80 plus 320, 400. And it was the only A-level school in the whole of the Western region. You can imagine. 1961, Ntare School was the only A-level school in the whole of the Western region. Here in Central, we had Budo and Kisubi, and I think Gayaza. I don't think Namagunga was already A-level. I doubt very much. We need to check. So here we had only 3 in Central, which were A-level, 1961. Budo, Kisubi, and I think Gayaza. I think Gayaza was A-level. I don't think by that time Namagunga was A-level. In the east there was no A-level. There was not a single school with A-level in the east. In the north, there was not a single one. There were a few with O-level. There was Muiri O-level. St. Peter's Tororo, O level, Nabumari, O level, Teso College Aloyd, O level, Samuel Baker, O level, Nyapea, O level. So we had quality, no quantity. Now, for us, and with that approach, with the approach of quality without quantity, you have no impact on society. Because you have what we call elite education. For me, I went through elite education. You know what elite means? E-L-I-T-E. Abatono. Abavudemu. Abatono. Manok. Manok, Maber, but the majority. Now, the NRM rejected this model. For us, we went for mass education. Mass education. Everybody must come. Because if we were to go for elite education, there would be no secondary school in Nama. No. The only secondary school would be in Bodo. And it should be. And they would have everything. They would have everything. But there would be few. Okay? So, we are moving very well. Mass education. With the problems of bringing quality in mass, in quantity, struggling to bring quality in quantity, it will come, but it will take time. When India got independence in 1947, they went away from because the British were the ones promoting it. For me, I went through the British education. Elite. Few getting everything. The many getting nothing. Now that's what their method in India. Now when India got independence, Uganda was still under the British. So Nehru, the Prime Minister of India, I think did what we are doing here now. He introduced mass education. Many universities were started in India. Many universities, because in the past they used to have like a few universities, just like here. Makerere. Just one. And one with few people. You can imagine Makerere had only 5,000 students. All the years, from year 1 to the final years of medicine and the other degrees. Just 5,000. As I speak today, Makerere has got 40,000 students. So that's what the approach in India. India, few, but with everything. Now, the leaders of India said, no, we must have many universities. So when they started, the British were still in charge here. our people started going to India for university education. There's one man who died recently, John Ntimba. John Ntimba even became permanent secretary in education. He came back with a degree from India, and they told him to go to Makerere to study for another year, because this degree of India, it's not a proper degree. So John Ntimba had to go to India, to Makerere, to study for another year for him to be allowed to teach in the schools, because they were saying that Indian degrees, they have lowered the quality. They have lowered the quality by too much quantity. As I speak today, India is a superpower. Its GDP is much bigger than that of UK. So, the road we are taking is not a new one. Others have already taken it. So, quantity, in order to deal with the whole society. And the quantity will give us quality.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Version 86. Keep the conversation going on our social media pages. Like the page on Facebook, Version 86 Project. Follow us on Twitter at Project86_UG. And remember, you can now catch all these episodes on YouTube. Just type Version 86 TV show, you will catch them. This has been an amazing episode. Catch us next time. I remain your host, Mugume Canary. Thank you for watching.